Hi, this is BB, and today my granddaughter, my oldest son's youngest daughter, will be speaking and sharing her story about the loss of her uncle. Hindsights, hurts, feelings, emotions, and then whatever else that she may feel like she needs to share today. But before we start, once again, I want to say if you're having suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideations, to please call 988. Once again, don't suffer in silence, don't wait, don't hesitate. Please call and get the help that you need. And if you know someone who's having those thoughts and it may not be you, please share that number with them as well so that they can get the help that they need. So on January the 8th, I got the call. And as I shared in earlier episodes, that I didn't want to contact anybody in the family until I had a chance to tell your grandfather what had happened. But you actually had called me that morning before I had a chance to reach out and tell everyone. So do you want to start your story there?
Yeah, so that morning I was actually calling you to touch base on if you had heard from him or what was going on with that whole situation. And I made a slightly stupid joke looking back that what if he had gone back up north and, looking back, that's what had happened. But in the moment, I didn't know that. So I made a joke just, trying to figure out what had happened. Little did I know that you already knew what had happened and everything. So and you pulled it together very well, and I didn't even notice that anything was off with our conversation or anything like that.
So, how did you actually find out since I hadn't called anyone yet at that point? How did you actually find out what had happened?
I was in the car, and me and my boyfriend and our youngest child were out and about running errands, and my dad called me, and I thought it was weird because, he just doesn't call a lot. He usually texts. So he called me, and then as soon as I answered, I mean, he just kind of blurted it out that he was dead. And I was like, what? I mean, just utter and complete shock, didn't know what to say. And, immediately I'm like, what? How did I not know? And so, um, I found out from him and then I called you back and, to make sure you were okay and to try to see just what was happening because I just didn't know. And my dad didn't really know too much either. It was kind of just like a lot of up in the air. Everybody was kind of confused and it was just sudden. So then I told you that I would be coming over when once I picked up our oldest from school. And yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing.
Well, did he tell you that he had taken his life, or did he just tell you that he was dead? I mean, did you know at that point that he had taken his life yet?
He told me he had taken his life, but he wasn't 100% certain on the way that it happened, but he knew he had took his own life.
Okay, so what, I know shock you said, but did you have any other emotions that you can think of now that you were going through when you first heard this news? Probably unbelief. I know that was my one of my emotions, but did other than shock or were you confused? I'm sure you were upset. What do you have any other things you can think of?
I think it's not necessarily an emotion, but something that I felt like I had to do was kind of go into protective mode for my cousins because I've been in the situation of losing a parent. So even though it wasn't in the same way, I understand the feeling of losing a parent. So I felt like I needed to go into protection mode and make sure that everybody's okay because I've been there and I remember those same feelings as a child losing a parent. So that was my biggest thing was feeling like I just needed to, are you okay? What's like, how's your day going? Please tell me, please talk to me if there's something wrong or, anything like that.
What about when you picked your kid, the oldest one up from school too? I'm sure there was a protective mode as a mother for you to not be distraught or overly upset that because he's very smart and picks up on things. So I'm sure you were probably trying to protect him as well so that he didn't get confused or upset seeing you upset. Is that kind of accurate or?
Yeah, I think, well, I kind of let him know, and he's young, but he's very smart and he understands very well. So I kind of just let him know, like, we're gonna go to Nana's, but when we get there, they're gonna be very sad. So give hugs and be very calm and just, don't, just, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Was
just be there and trying to help him understand that it's going to be a different environment than when we normally go to Nana's because usually we're playing and we're happy but this time everybody's going to be a little sad and we need to just relax today.
And he did very well. I mean, he was very comforting actually for us to for him to sit in our laps quietly, and the joking that he usually does and playing and things like that were very helpful to kind of distract your grandfather and myself. So actually it was very helpful that they were here. So uh thoughts, emotions, feelings you want to share, like what y'all's relationship was like? How y'all were kind of close, even though y'all were far away in distance, you still were close. I know you've shared things with me about phone calls and texts, and I don't want to share your story. So, do you want to go into any details about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, growing up we had a very close relationship. I mean, we were all together all the time, every Friday nights watching wrestling and beating each other up, basically fighting and just always together and had a really good relationship. And then as time went on, it grew apart because we were older and in school and doing our own things as kids do. And then, once I became an adult, we had a very close relationship, but with distance. I mean, I knew if 2 a.m., 2 p.m., I can call him whenever I need him. I can text him whenever I need him. It doesn't matter what time he would answer and he would do what he could, no matter how far away he was, to be there in any way that he could.
So, what nickname did y'all have for each other?
We like to joke a lot with names. I mean, there was many of names, but our biggest name was Loser. We called each other Loser all the time, pretty much every time we saw each other.
And even with texts and phone calls, right? He would text you, "Hey, loser," or something like that, I
Yeah,
think.
Loser or Big Head or anything along those lines of insults.
And how was he with your two kids? A few times that he got to see him, and when they were really little still, but how was he with them?
He was very good. My oldest, he was played the ball with him. I mean, would throw the ball, go outside and watch him slide down the slide. He would run back and forth and just, play really good with him. And then my daughter, she was still really young and trying to learn people, and she was still iffy about getting too close to him. But she was starting to really warm up to him and, build that relationship with him where she was comfortable around him.
Yeah, because when he was here those last 2 months, he got to see them a lot more than he did prior, because obviously he was living up north. So,
Yeah.
any other hindsights other than the one when you look back and realize that you asked, did I think he might be up north, and then come to find out he actually was. I'm sure you miss him. That's not even a really relevant question because I know you must. But anything else? What about like when we were planning on trying to go up there so we could view him one more time? What were your thoughts around that?
I was mostly scared in those moments because you don't ever want to see anybody like that, especially somebody that you're really close to. But also, it's one of those moments that you'll never have again. So you have to like deal with, is it worth it? And of course, it's worth it. I mean, that's your last moment you'll ever see him. But then you have to deal with the pain of seeing him like that all at the same time. So it's just one of those things that it's conflicting, but you have to do it, even though you don't really want to, but you have to because you'll never get that chance again.
So when we were talking about actually going up north, trying to drive or something, you actually were thinking about trying to do that as well, right? Even with the kids and everything, or
Yeah, we were trying to come up with a plan about how I could get up there, even if that meant either leaving the kids, with their dad or bringing them along with us. I was gonna try to make a way any way I had to be able to get up there and see him.
well, so it worked out really well that we were able to bring him here so that everybody who wanted to could see him one last time. Do you remember when, like you said, it was scary and very sad and very hard, but how did you feel about when we all started joking and laughing and remembering things that he would do or say? Did that help your feelings any? Did it ease it, or did you feel like it was disrespectful, or did you feel like that's just the way this family rolls?
Yeah, I mean, it helped a lot because that's what he would have wanted. He wouldn't have wanted us to sit there and be sad. And I mean, I just couldn't stop crying. I mean, I was just like, every time I would look up at him, I just started crying all over again. And I know that he would have wanted us to joke around and, all just be there and laugh with each other. And that's just the person that he was. He never wanted anybody to he always wanted to make people laugh. So it felt like that's what we needed to do as a family because that's what we're used to with him.
Well, now that it's been over 7 months since he's passed, how are you and your cousins, his children, doing with y'all's relationship?
We're doing okay. His two boys, we don't really talk much. We're kind of just busy with life. They're grown and we don't really just talk anymore that much, but they know that if they ever need anything, I'm here and I would do whatever I could to be there for them in the way they need. But as daughters, I would say fairly close. I mean, we have a pretty good relationship. I see them usually once a month, if not more. And they love my kids to death, and my kids love them to death. And, it's always fun to see them.
Okay, what about your emotions and feelings and things like that after it's been so long? I know, like I said a couple episodes, I was sharing that some days it's harder now than it seemed like it was at the very beginning. So, how does that affect you now that it's been like 7, almost 8 months?
I would say mostly I tend to just push it away, and I try to pretend that it didn't happen, but it did. And that's just something that eventually I think I will come to terms with. But for now, it's just I try to push down how I feel about it and not really feel it because me and him were so close. And even if not in later years, but in earlier years of my life, we were so close. So it's something that I don't even want to think about, that, I'll never see him again. I'll never hug him again. I'll never hear his laugh again. I'll never hear him call me names again. And so I just try not to think about it, but I do think of his memory a lot. Like I know he's gone, but I don't want to accept it.
So, do you, I'm sure, think about him every day at some point, probably more than once a day, even?
Oh yeah, always. I mean, pictures come up and just I mean, even when I see his kids, it's like a reminder. My kids even will ask or call his name, and it's just like a sudden reminder of like, wow, he's gone. And you know,
Well, what about, and I don't necessarily want to use the word triggers, but I mean, is there sometimes something you see or hear or even a smell or anything that just brings him to your mind like really strong?
mostly just like he always wore these specific shirts, and he had a lot of the ones that he wore over and over again. And I was at work one day and saw somebody come in with a shirt that looked very similar to him. So it just, I mean, instantly I had to look at him. I'm like, wait, you're not him, but your shirt looks just like something he would wear. And just, his just things like that.
Well, I appreciate you bringing your story and your feelings and emotions and everything. It means a lot because, like we're trying to get everyone's perspective of in the family. So between parents and siblings and children and ex-wives, or not even ex-wives, but widows, and now his nieces, we just wanted to get everyone's perspective so anyone else who's going through this may have can hear this, and they may be the niece of or the sibling of, or the same situation, and we just want to try to touch all aspects in case there's someone who needs to hear this. I know that he loved you very much. And I know that the way that y'all joked back and forth and carried on was the way that we always do. This family just does that kind of thing, and the fact that y'all did it even into your adult life just says so much. And as usual, again, at the end, I just want to say if you're having suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideations, please call 988. Please don't wait. Please don't hesitate. Please don't choose to do something that you can't change, especially if there's help available or resources or advice or anything else. So just would ask that you would call 988. Thank you.
From the mouths of babes, honest and truthful, and such sweet memories she holds on to. So proud of the woman she has become, and all the while raising children and dealing with the grief of the loss of her uncle. Thank you so much for talking with us and sharing your feelings and hindsights. We love you very, very much. We will have more guest speakers in weeks to come, and we invite and appreciate each and every one of you. For those we do not know or not family members, we invite you to share your stories. Someone you may know or someone in your family, friends, whatever. We encourage you to reach out if you feel led to do so. You can reach us at hindsighthurts@mail.com and also on our Hindsight Hurts YouTube channel. Every Tuesday morning, please tune in for each newly released recordings on the podcast. Also, please know you can catch up with us via Instagram and Spotify as well. We thank each and every one of you.